Before we dive in deep today with my guest, who I fell in love with a while back when I was on her podcast. Before we dive deep, I just want to say woohoo and thank you everyone for all the over 3,000 uploads, downloads, and whatever you do with a podcast when you listen to it. Thank you so much because we've crested that, and I so appreciate that you are coming to listen and hear what the conversation is for your own personal growth, awareness, and empowerment. So thank you so much for supporting Empowering Chats with Susan Burrell. It is my honor to do this work. It's actually really fun. And so I just say thank you, and please more, share it, gift it, whatever, however you want to do it. So thanks. So today's guest is a woman who puts happiness first. And we're going to find out why in a moment. I want to welcome Lauren Foster. Lauren, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so thrilled and honored that I met you and that I'm having this opportunity to talk with you. It's just awesome.
Me too, because me too. So happiness first is not, for women, it's not necessarily the thing that we do. We weren't taught it. Hopefully the following generations are being taught it because we of these certain ages are finally recognizing that we come first, and part of that means being happy. So would you share with everybody how you got to that place of putting yourself first, of putting your happiness first?
Yeah, I'll happily do that. And like you, I grew up in a time when, most of us, no matter when we grew up, we kind of fall into what our life becomes. So when I was very young, I wanted to be a missionary. I was very immersed in the First Baptist Church so I had that experience. I wanted to be an actress and a singer. And I got that dream squashed because everybody said, well, you can't make a living at that.
That frustrates me.
It does. And, but we still do it to our kids. We're like, oh no, don't do that risky thing that your heart wants you to do. Go do this safe thing where we know you can make a living and you're not going to starve and all that. And so we well-meaning people all the time squash our dreams, so.
I have a question about that. I mean,
Okay.
I have a statement about that because I think that what happens, at least in my life, that squishy squash, because I was pursuing acting, my parents were very supportive, but there was underlying currents from my mom because I was doing the things she really wanted to do. So I kind of got stuck in that. So deciding that you can make a living at whatever your dream is hugely important. So what happened then next?
Yeah, it really is. Well, so next I muddled my way through college and finally graduated, and I wanted to work in public relations. And I got a degree in advertising and public relations. Those two just kind of went hand in hand. And then everybody said, oh, you can't really make a lot of money in PR because there's too much competition and there's not. So these stories that I listened to all my life. There was also a stint in there. I worked my way through college as a disc jockey on the radio. I was a radio announcer. Yeah, actually spinning records. And once again, only one or two people in the whole country make any money at being a radio announcer. You can't, that's not a dream that you can do. And so, but by this time, I didn't have the gumption that I had as a teenager. It finally got drummed out of me. I'm like, okay. And so I wound up going into a sales career, which I did for my entire career, which I still do. I actually still have an advertising business, and it's fine. It's enjoyable work. It's a good product. It's all of those things, but it's not my heart, but I don't regret any of those decisions because they made me into who I am today. And they taught me the lessons that I needed to learn to be able to serve in the way that I do now. So that's the technical career path, but all along that path, I had that strong rooting in my youth of spirit and God. And I had some very, very great influencers there that really taught me to be in love with spirit and to be a person of service. And I had a family who loved me unconditionally to a fault and, really allowed me to be myself. And I had a lot of freedom because I was the baby of 6 and my parents were busy with
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah.
with the other 5. So I kind of raised myself up and, in safety and unconditional love, but not that much supervision. And but as my spiritual development continued, I found that the messages I was hearing from church and religion weren't weren't good. They were like, God doesn't love you unless you're good. God doesn't love you unless you act this way. And if you go after that thing that you want with your, little adolescent body, then God's going to send you to hell. And none of this sounded like the truth to me. And so I just kind of drifted completely away from any kind of spirituality. I'm like, I'm not going to win this game anyway because I can't be that.
Right.
And so but
Lauren, can I just interject here? Because
yeah,
I want everybody that's listening to recognize what you're describing is a religion credo. Every religion in the world has a manifesto, has a credo that they want their followers to follow. And that's not many people find comfort and find their connection to source, to God, in those organized religions. But many people now, right? Yourself, myself, are recognizing that credo is not vitalizing. It does not create a happy life. It creates a very cautious, small life. And spirituality is so much more, and it's unique to the individual. So I just want everybody that's listening to really get that.
yeah,
Right, Lauren?
yes, that is exactly right. That so many times we get confused that this is what spirituality is about when it's really me and my source, and
Exactly.
nobody else has anything else to do with it whatsoever. Now we uplift one another and we nurture one another, like you and I are, like the awesome little connection meditation that we did together before. And human beings are vital to one another, but your spirit, your relationship with your higher self and with your maker is absolutely, completely and totally your own. Right. So, but I hadn't yet figured that out either. So I was kind of feeling like I was out here on my own without any connection to
Yeah.
my source.
Yeah.
Now being in sales is actually a really awesome place to be because they teach you about visualization and they teach you about visualizing positive outcomes, and they teach you about being of service to your customers. If you have good sales trainers, they teach you about being of service. And so those were all really great lessons for me to be making my life as a great little law of attraction manifester. I was making things happen with the power of my thoughts and getting things done. And, I would get the job I wanted. I would get the boyfriend I wanted. I would get all the stuff that I wanted. But once I got it, I would always sabotage myself in some way or another and fall flat on my butt and wind up having to start all over again. Because
So why do you think you were sabotaging yourself?
Well, because for a number of reasons. For one thing, I was all alone. I was completely cut off from my source and operating with very little power. This little human being doesn't have very much power, and a sense of unworthiness. You grow to a point where you think, well, what, I got this and I manifested this, but do I really deserve it? In my heart of hearts, I didn't think that I did.
Right. I'm like going, oh my God, Lauren, because there is, I think, within most women, a sense of I don't deserve this idea. And it comes from a bunch of different places. My spouse and I just did a trip to France for 10 days. It was phenomenal because we went to visit our exchange student, and his family gifted us so much, like a place to stay for 10 days, beautiful dinners, food and champagne. Oh my God, because they make champagne. And at the first couple of days, I kept saying, no, please don't do, that's too much. Don't do that. I can't handle that. And I finally had to sit myself down and say, you deserve this. They are giving this to you. This is the idea of hospitality, of service, because they they love us, and we loved their son when he was here. So, and we still love him. But anyway, it is, you push the thing when the universe is saying, here, and do you want more of this? Here's more cheese and baguettes. Do you want more of this? Oh, you know. And
Oh
then
no, I couldn't
no.
possibly. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
we all have that sense of not feeling deserving, especially
Right.
as you've been describing, your journey has been, well, I want to follow my heart, but that's not good enough.
That's right.
Because you can't make a living. That's not good enough. So what else are you going to do?
Exactly. And I encounter so many women that, you know, we are so loving and we are so concerned about everyone else and the world. We're like, well, I don't get to be happy until nobody's starving, until, you know, nothing bad is happening to anybody. So the world is a horrible place. Why do I deserve to be happy? And it's, you know, it's a crock and it helps no one. And my mission is to kind of flip that around and teach people otherwise, because you cannot serve from an empty vessel. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't care for the world, for everyone, but if all you do is give and you never receive, eventually you run out.
Been there, done that.
Right. And then what do you do? Then who do you help? Then who do your children and your followers and your whoever it is that you're trying to take care of, what do you have for them then when you've exhausted yourself, you know? So
then when you realized that you needed to put yourself first, was there a causation? Yeah. Okay. So finally, succeed, fail. I finally fell so far down back in like 2010 that I couldn't get back up. I was completely exhausted. I was bankrupt. I was emotionally completely depleted, financially depleted, spiritually lost, and if about to be on the streets homeless. I was living with my sister who was about to lose her house. Oh, and I'm so sorry you went through that.
Well, I'm not, because because sometimes it takes something big to shake you up and put you on a different trajectory, you know? And so had my sister been in an okay place to support me, I would have stayed in her spare room for the rest of my life and just coasted along doing, you know, filling in at the radio station and the TV station and, you know, alcohol and casual sex, and just given up and just really lived out my life with nothing. And that wouldn't be a good thing, right?
Although some people do it, but I'm hearing it because you were aware as a small child, your connection to source, and then everything got put on top of it, that this was your opportunity to dig out from under that. Yeah, it really was. And so from this humble place with nothing, with no home, no money, everything gone, I finally woke up and said, you know what? I've been trying to take care of everybody. And I hadn't. The brother that I was the primary enabler for, he died anyway. My mother had to go to a state-run nursing home because we didn't have the money so she died a pauper anyway. And my sister was losing her house anyway. All of these things that I thought that I was juggling and helping with, I didn't help anyone. All I did was exhaust myself completely, because that's not how you help. You don't help by doing for, you help by supporting. But anyway, that's another completely long story. But so from this place, I wasn't willing to live under a bridge. Thank you. And yes, so I gathered up all the tools that I had. I was, again, a student of the law of attraction, and I started listening closer and hearing how Abraham Hicks is one of my favorite teachers, and they're channelers, for Christ's sake. And I was listening to them and following the processes and things like that, but leaving God out. I'm like, what were you thinking? No. I know. But so, you know, I handed my family members over to God, and went, you know, I'm nobody's hero. They have the same access to their sources I do. Yes. It's not up to me to be their hero. And so I handed them to their source, and I
devised for myself a simple dream of what it was that I wanted to manifest for my life. I wanted peace and security and safety and my own home. And, I wanted us all to be free to come and go as we please with doors and windows wide open all the time. And I wanted work that I could do easily, I could work from home. I wouldn't be supervised. I knew the things that I gathered together, the things I knew for sure that I wanted for my life. And I created that vision, and I got in the most grateful place I could be. I started making lists of positive aspects of where I was all the time, while at the same time having faith and confidence that this new place that I wanted was coming. And I got all of that. By 2012, I was sitting in this beautiful spot that I manifested for myself. And by 2014, I owned it. I was just having exactly the life that I wanted. And so bursting with happiness, sitting on my patio with my dog at my feet, going, okay, now what? And that's when I thought that what I want is to help other women get here faster, to not have to suffer through as much of the heartache and the trial and error. And I wanted to share this. And so I said, I'm going to be a happiness coach. I thought I made that up. And turns out I didn't. There were happiness coaches before me, but I didn't know that. And I created Be Happy First. And now I'm on a mission to help 1 million women be happy and free on purpose.
I so appreciate that. And it's a very profound and deep journey you've chosen in order to support so many women in learning how to be happy. So, Lauren, you made mention of a tool that I think you use. You said you focused on positive aspects.
The list of positive aspects. If you said you can only have one book in this world and you can never ever have another book, it would be the book Ask and It Is Given by Abraham Hicks.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and that is one of their processes. It's the list of positive aspects, and it works for everything. If you are unhappy in your relationship, make a list of positive aspects about your relationship and teach yourself to put your attention on the things that are positive and let the things that are negative atrophy from neglect and fade away. And so your dreams can grow and thrive in the absence of all that negativity if you teach yourself to focus on the positive.
Yes. So, I know I'm one of them. For me, and this goes back to when I was a kid, I still catch myself doing it, Lauren. Oh my goodness. I tend to focus on the things I don't like about myself. I make the list. I don't like me. And then what do you do with that? Right? So now you've got a list of all the things you don't like, because if you know what you don't like, then you can clean it out. It's like, it's important to recognize what your obstacles are, what it is that is causing you to not like yourself or causing you to feel shame or guilt or whatever. It's very important. You cannot do deep spiritual work without recognizing the obstacles in your way or the belief systems or patternings. But then I realized that I was making a list of all the things I didn't like. I'm going to release this. I'm going to release this. Well, I continued to make the list daily of what I wanted to release. And suddenly it dawned on me, then I'm focusing on the negative, and then I was like, and I'll embrace this. I'll embody this. It's like, just the releasing, just decide it's already done. Change, like you said, change your focus, change your perception or perspective, and just focus on the positive aspects. How easy is that?
Yeah, it really, well, it's simple. It's not necessarily easy, because you're right. We look in the mirror and we're not looking for anything that's beautiful. We're looking for things to fix. And, we're making this list of, I have hundreds of diaries when I was a little girl. Young girl, my whole life I've journaled. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to clear up my skin. I'm going to do this with my hair. I'm going to get these clothes. All of these things to fix. And you turn yourself into something that's broken. And so I'm really loving being the wisdom of being in my 50s, because, it's it's a simple thing to put yourself a note on your mirror that says, "Hello, beautiful. How's your day?" And remind yourself to look for beauty when you look in the mirror, when you look at your life, when you look at anything. If you're raising kids and they won't do the dishes, they won't even put their dishes in the sink. And people always kind of go, "Well, Lauren, you don't have any kids," but I don't care. That I I have nieces and nephews and friends, children, and everybody loves me because I never got that messed up parent thing. Anyway,
Right.
that's a completely different subject. But if you ignore the times that your child does not put their dish in the sink, and the time that they do, you shower them with praise and love and admiration, you watch and see if they don't start doing that more. When you
Oh,
take your attention away from the behavior that you dislike and put your praise and love and attention on the behavior that you do, it works for your husband too.
yeah, I'm going to try it. It also works for your animals. I praise when my dog is out barking her brains out, instead of yelling at her, "Stop it, stop it, stop it." When she comes in the house, she sits and looks at me like, "I did a good job, right? I did a good job." And I'm like, "Yes, you did." And then I lock the door so she can't do it again.
Right.
Yeah. So positive aspects are really huge for refocusing into your own happiness. Now, Lauren, where do you find happiness? Where is it outside? Like you were talking about, you were buying, looking for the right clothes and trying to fix things. Is there any way you can just go buy happiness?
No. And so the evolution of that story that I was just telling you in between, while I was trying to get to where I am now, of course, you can't buy a house with a brand new bankruptcy, and I had a brand new career position that was, had to be built. So there wasn't a lot of money. So I moved into a little 250 square foot basement apartment
Wow.
with my dog and my 4 cats that was in the area that I wanted to shop for my house. So I got as close as I could. But that at that time, that's all I could afford. And I didn't control my own thermostat. And so it was freezing in there. And that somebody had converted a house. And so there were 2 families that lived upstairs, and they played loud music. And so, I mean, I could list you all the awful, awful, awful things about that little apartment. But if I did that, I would still be there. So,
oh my God, that's brilliant.
It is. Yes. And I realized that when I was paying attention to the neighbors' loud music, I felt like crap. But when I paid attention to how cool it was to have pizza delivery and the view of the lake outside, and just looking for any little thing about this apartment that I could love and appreciate, got me out of there way quicker than if I had sat and complained and tried to fix, or, yelled
I
at
got
the neighbor.
chills as you're saying that, because it's an easy, again, it's not easy. It's a simple thing. Like Lauren says, everybody, it's a simple thing to do.
It's not easy.
But it's so vital and important, because how are you going to shift your circumstances unless there's a song called Accentuate the Positive, right?
Eliminate the negative.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's a great song for a reason. And
It's a great song for a reason.
You attract what you are. And if you are in a place of positivity and appreciation and love and service, if there's something that you want from the world, go give that. If you want someone to pay attention to you, pay attention. If you want money, give money. If you want, I don't know, likes on your Facebook page, go put likes on somebody else's Facebook page. Whatever it is that you are wanting to attract, be that and feel that and live your life that way. I'm currently in while I was writing the book, I wanted to be.
Everybody, Lauren's got a book. It's called Happy and Free on Purpose. Okay.
Yeah. Daily practices to live and love your life. And one of the big things is it's acceptance of circumstances, but not being attached to circumstances. So in this specific instance, your body, I'm weight wise than I've ever been in my life. And
me too.
Well, and I've always struggled up and down with that. And what I really want people to do is not identify themselves with their bodies. You have a body. You are not your body. You are divine and precious and unique and eternal, walking around in an earth suit that allows you to breathe on this planet. Now, not to say that your body isn't important, but it's not who you are. And so over the year and a half or so that I was writing the book, I'm like, I'm going to focus on being healthy and strong. And so in my affirmations that I would write in the morning, I'm healthy and strong. I'm creating a healthy, strong body. And I am very healthy and very strong. My immune system is like superwoman. And I got all of that, but I also got, 10, 15, 20 extra pounds on a 5-foot frame, and so now I have started affirming that I am slender and agile and healthy and strong. Because I still want to be healthy and strong, but I want to be slender and agile. And then once you set those intentions, the universe gives you clues as to go do your own yard work. It'll be fun. You'll be out in the sun. You get ideas, you get things like that. But then you start to live as if you already have that. So what does the slender person wear? Slender women who feel beautiful in their bodies take great care of their skin, and they wear pretty jewelry, and they love and honor and respect and admire their beautiful slender bodies. We don't. Nobody ever thinks they're slender enough, but hopefully we can get there.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I was just journaling about that this morning. I was writing myself affirmations. I am healthy, strong, and flexible. And I'm going to add slender in there.
Slender, yeah. Because while we're not there's nothing wrong with wanting to have your body look and feel the way you want it to, as long as you're just not making that the definition of you, because it's just one aspect of you. It's just the suit you're walking around in.
Right.
And so
it's external, defining yourself from the external into the internal instead of defining yourself from the internal, because then that love, beauty, joy, whatever shines on your face. And it's so true. When I came out of my nasty divorce, and I'd done a lot of inner work on myself and learned to love myself for the first time in my life, nothing changed. I had gained some weight during the divorce, of course, and nothing changed except that my opinion of myself and how I viewed myself within changed. I had people coming up to me going, "Wow, you've lost weight." I'm like, no. Wow, did you cut your hair? No. What's different about you? And it took me a few times to go, oh, it's because I am radiating the love that I am. I am radiating at a different level, and people find that attractive.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I have this, I own the website Happy is the New Beautiful, that I'm going to do something amazing with one of these days.
Oh, I can't wait. You're going to have to share it with me when you do it.
Maybe you'll help me do it.
Right.
You never know what kind of collaborations we're going to put together in this.
I would love that. So, there's this other piece that you slipped in there in this last segment that we just discussed, focusing on wanting to be healthy and agile and slender. And then you paid attention because, like you said, the universe brings you things because there's always an action. I just want everybody to know, when you do affirmations, in order for them to anchor into your belief system, into your body, into your mind, and push out the negative stuff, you also have to take action. So like Lauren was saying, go out and do your own gardening. Or for me, I'm going for walks and I'm looking at the beauty of all my neighbors' yards, and focusing on the beauty in their yards, not the ones that, God, they have weeds and
right. But, yeah. So it becomes the difference between motivated action and inspired action. And I have done it many, many times. I could go on a diet, force myself through exercise routines that I despise. I could physically force my body back into a different size, but that's not
that part.
I'm not doing it. I won't do it anymore ever. And so I want to prove to the world that on this next part of my journey, it's going to be easy. I'm going to slim down. And I'm agile. I'm flexible. I do yoga and everything, but I'm going to slim down too. And it's going to be easy and it's going to be fun and it's going to be inspired. So already, life just brings you opportunities to move if that's what matches up with your intention. I'm getting some cabinets built. So I was helping to lift lumber. I didn't have to go to a gym. and life will continue to bring me whatever is needed in order to achieve the things that I've set my intentions on.
I am really grateful that you said all that, because about trying to fit your it's very restrictive when you put yourself on whatever the diet or the eating plan, and you hear a lot of this is a lifestyle plan. I'm like, I've tried all of them. Being type 1 diabetic, I've tried them all. And having gone to France, that was my wake-up call, that I can have champagne, I can eat some bread with some yummy cheese, and it's fun. And I came back going, I want joy in my life. I don't want restriction and constriction and being told what to do. I'm tired of it. Yeah. So finding the best way to balance your lifestyle, that's what I'm working on right now. How can I balance my lifestyle so that I can eat and live the way that gives me joy, and not be abusive or excessive about it. But so I'm investigating that now that I'm back in California.
Yeah, awesome.
I would like to go back to France because the bread is so much better. But
well, I'm actually a certified primal health coach.
Oh, explain that.
Well, basically, it's an ancestral way of eating. The more common term would be paleo. That is more recognized. The difference is that primal will allow dairy if your body tolerates dairy. Uh-huh. But the beautiful thing about primal is that it's very, very basic and very, very broad. It's basically you don't have bread at every meal. Our bodies were not designed to serve that. That's not supposed to be our staple. It's supposed to be every once in a while type of thing, like our ancestors. Harvesting grain was difficult and cost a lot of calories and a lot of work. So our ancestors did not eat a lot of wheat. They certainly didn't make 90% of their diet grains. Right. And then everything else, the rest. So those are the basic premises. No processed foods, grass-fed beef, those kinds of things, and trans fats. So there's some just basic rules, but the most important thing is to be in touch with your own body and figure out what your body likes. And I've always said you are way better off eating pizza and beer with gusto and love and fervor and enjoyment than you are choking down dry chicken breast and steamed broccoli, The amount of joy is so very, very important. And I don't know how we got off on that tangent.
Well, but it's about being happy first. See, yeah. Because if you're enjoying your life and you're finding those places where you find joy, and okay, so now that we're on food, Lauren, just really quick, okay. I have during pandemic shutdown, I started just doing comfort food, which was a bag of pretzels. And not just a few pretzels, the bag of pretzels. Right. And then I paid the consequences because I was allergic, because I was gaining weight, because.
Can't be good for your diabetes either, right?
Yeah. What I also noticed is every time I sat down to eat like a meal, like lunch, I also was being distracted. I distracted myself. So I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't being present with what I was eating. And then I was eating very quickly so that I could get back to work, or at night I eat quickly. I notice this because I want to get the dishes done so I can sit down and relax with my husband, and it's like, wait a minute, because that doesn't serve the body either, right?
No. And you're talking about where to find happiness. You find happiness in every single molecule of this universe, and every single action that you do, every single thought that you have. And that includes doing the dishes, eating your dinner, sitting down with your husband.
Oh.
It really does. I mean, just think about it. If you are going, ah, this meal is amazing. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful that I have this great food to eat, and you enjoy it, and you are in that moment. You're not rushing ahead in your mind to what comes next. Then, you rush from this to this to this to this, and you get to the end and you go, well, I missed everything because I was never thinking about what I was doing. I was always thinking about what's coming next.
So you weren't, so I'm going to own it, Lauren. I'm owning it. So I was never really present with the nourishment that was going in my body. So then no wonder my body is having nourishment issues and digestion issues, right? Because I'm not present with it. Again, just to tell everybody, when we were in France, they eat twice. They eat like a lunch, a midday meal, and then an evening meal. And the evening meal starts between 8 and 9 at night. Okay. So somewhere in between, we were taking naps. I don't know if everybody else in France was taking a nap, but we were. But the meals were very, the lunch, we would go out to a restaurant, and it was a very slow, for an American, very slow paced. I'm like, okay, where's the salad? Okay. And then at the end, it's like, okay, where's the check? But because it's about relaxing.
It's an event.
The food and enjoying it and not just stuffing it in.
Right.
It was a really good wake up call for me to go, okay, I'm going to slow my pace down even more so I can be present with me. And I think that fulfills your part of your happiness quotient, being present with yourself.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely does. And, recognizing how you're expending your energy and how much of what you're doing in a day are you doing things that you feel like you have to do. If we could just get rid of have to and only do choose to, want to, get to, that would fix everything.
Okay, let's say that again. Choose to,
want to,
and that you get to do.
Get to. I choose to do this. I want to do this. I get to do this. I don't have to do anything. Just changing the wording brings back your freedom.
My brain is kind of going woo woo woo, because I'm in this process of really discerning that, and it's a challenge for me, Lauren.
I would love for you to give me an example, and let's work through a real example.
Okay, so I have taken the summer off to focus on my health, which means I'm looking at belief systems and patternings from my childhood, from my generational, ancestral, and I'm focusing on facing those things and accepting or releasing them, that kind of stuff. But halfway through, so I gave myself through September, but in the beginning of July, when we got back from France, I'm like, all right, I think I'm supposed to be doing something. What should I do? I should be doing workshops again. I should be working on my book. I should be something. I was looking, as I'm speaking this out loud. Okay.
There you go.
What I was looking for was distractions to keep me from staying focused on my course of inner awareness and healing and self-love.
Okay. First of all, let's start with where that word supposed to. Where supposed to according to whom?
My mother.
Right. Yeah.
So many supposed to's growing up. I was supposed to set the table. I was supposed to wash the dishes. I was supposed to be home to help her entertain family or clients or friends. I was supposed to. It was expected.
Right. So you aren't supposed to do anything except be happy. So learn that new thing. And now, and then what was the other? Should. Supposed to and should. That's so powerless. Like, I'm supposed to do this. I should do that. And that sounds like you just, kind of forcing yourself into things that you don't want to do. Whereas if you just change the words, say, I would like to see about doing workshops. I would like to explore the possibility of working on my book. I think working on my book might be a fun thing for me to do. What would be the most fun way to go about that? I had a day during the process that I was writing my book, and it was getting towards a deadline, and I just wasn't in the mood. I'm like, I don't want to sit at my computer and write this book today. I just don't want to. But I wasn't willing to just go, well, I could have. Now, I didn't have to write the book. I could have ditched it at any second. I could have procrastinated. I do that. But instead I went, what could I do to make this fun? And I thought, well, I'll light some candles. It's a gloomy day, and I'll make some cinnamon tea, and I'll get out a notebook and a pretty pen, and I'll write longhand and do something different. And it worked. Like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I feel like a writer. I feel like a teacher. I feel like I am in the middle of inspired action and having the time of my life. And I wrote really good stuff that day, So the sitting down and forcing yourself to pound out X number of words is not going to be the beautiful creation that it would be if you wait to be inspired. The same with, diets and really rigorous exercise programs that you're motivated to force yourself through. Yeah. Those results don't last.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
No, they don't. Because at least for me, because then I'm going, because I was thinking, now we're back on food.
We're back on food.
But I was thinking about, well, what is it that keeps me, this was this morning, what keeps me from staying on that course, on that particular eating program? And I generally do things because I know there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Mm-hmm. And if this is the way I'm supposed to eat the rest of my life, I don't want to. So it's like reassessing now, what is it? What do I want to put back into my eating program? And then I've got, and I'm saying this out loud for everybody, because there will be authority figures, right? Like a doctor or whatever, who say to you, you need to do this because, and because it's good for you, because it will save your life, because whatever. Now there are certain things you do need to do, but in owning your own power, being empowered, loving yourself first, you have to assess, is that true for me? If I follow this exactly, A, am I going to be happy? And B, is it going to give me the longevity I'm seeking? Those kinds of questions, not just saying, oh, well, the doctor said, so I better do it. I tend to be a rebel.
Yeah. Right? And I think that's you've landed on one of the most powerful things that comes from having a strong spiritual connection with your highest self, because your highest self is tapped into infinite intelligence that can see forever in all directions. So it knows the answers to those questions.
Yes.
So if you're able to go, okay, really, is living on rice and beans the rest of my life what I should do? You'll get a clear answer if you have a good, clear line of communication with your highest self.
And then once you hear the answer, really kind of follow through with it, right? Mm-hmm. Don't just go, oh, well, like I've been hearing, okay, do yoga, Susan. I'm like, yeah, I'll get to that tomorrow. And every morning it's like, are you going to do your yoga? Yeah, I'll do it later. Oh, no, I didn't. And I'll do it tomorrow. So you do have to listen.
Is your higher self telling you to do yoga, or is your best friend telling you to
Lauren,
do yoga?
You're so great. Everybody, see how great Lauren is. Look at how she was listening to me. No, it's my should person inside going.
Your should person. Okay. Is that your higher self?
No. I got caught, everybody. I got caught. All right. I'm going to listen more to my higher self. I promise.
Yeah. And don't say should. Or every time you hear yourself say should, go, oh, I just said it. What? Who's talking? Who's trying to tell me what to do here? And
that's a good suggestion.
Yeah, it really is. I do it too. I mean, I catch myself going, oh, I should be doing this, or oh, I have to. And after a time, it gets less and less and less and less. Though, when you find yourself going, do I have to? No, I don't have to, and I'm not gonna. Or no, I don't have to, but I think it's a good idea, so I think I will. I think I will choose to. I I can't do this because I have to do that is about the most disempowering statement in the entire world. And
Yeah.
you don't even have to change your actions, have to. You aren't even required to change your actions to change the energy around that. You can just say, I choose not to do this because I'm going to do that instead. You're still doing the same thing. You're just taking back your power of choice.
Yeah. Which we often surrender, and we surrender it at a very early age. We're taught very carefully that we don't have a choice, that the parental or the authority figure is the one that tells us what to do. This is circling back, everybody,
All the
to
way back to the beginning.
organized religion where
Mhm.
you're being told what you have to do and how you have to be.
Yeah.
So Lauren, we're coming to the end of our time together. I can't
Okay.
believe it. So Lauren's book is called Happy and Free on Purpose. So tell everybody how they can get that book and your website, and you've got a couple of free giveaways.
Yeah. Okay. So the book is Happy and Free on Purpose: Daily Practices to Live and Love Your Life. And basically the end of it is like a study guide that you could go through if you're a teacher or a personal development coach or anything. You could use this as a to take your clients through, or you could, I love the idea of a group of women doing this together in a book club, because
Yes.
we're getting back to figuring out what you and your soul really, really want, and what happiness means to you. And on purpose has a double meaning. It means that you're doing it deliberately.
Yes.
And it also means that you're doing it according to your unique purpose. You are not put here by accident. You are put here with a soul that is yearning for something. And if you can shut out all of the noise and figure out what that is and get back in touch with who you are, then it's very easy to be happy and free on purpose all the time. So that's the book. And if you go to laurengfoster.com, right there on the front page is a free study guide. So you don't need a special link to get to it. So you can
Cool.
actually look at the study guide and get an idea about whether you would like to buy the book or not. So that's a great place to start. And there's a couple of free meditations there as well. And you can get to my podcast, which is the How to Choose Happiness and Freedom show. And Susan Burrell was the official guest last week, I think, is when the actual episode actually posted. So, but you can get everywhere from there, just laurengfoster.com.
And everybody will have that in the show notes. So you don't have, if you didn't get to write it down as you're listening, it's in the show notes and you can follow through with that. So Lauren, thank you so much. It's been such a gift and a pleasure. You are a gift and a pleasure. I have chills. I have absolute chills all over my body because this was so enjoyable. It made me happy, Lauren. It made me very happy.
Yay! Number one. Only how many does that leave in my million? No.
Oh, I'm sure there's tons of other women. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. And I'm just going to end with, and so it is. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.